Hi, everybody. We're back. So today, before we get started on the monologue, I want to talk about what we're doing today because it's going to be slightly different than what we've done in the past. So, in the past, what we've been doing is I've been looking at it as a piece of literature, then moving on to the character, then moving on to performance. Today, I want to talk about what happens if you don't know the play. Because here's the deal: when you audition for something, you should read the play first. You should have some idea of what it is. If you can't read the play, you should look up a synopsis, some kind of summary of what's going on. If you can't find any of those things, what we're going to be looking at today is how you deal with that. If you can't find anything about this play, this is what you can do if you're suddenly given something in an audition setting. So, the monologue that we're looking at today is from Shakespeare's Two Gentlemen of Verona. As always, the monologue is in the description below. Take a moment, pause it, read it, come back to me. Today, I do also want to point out something that happens in this monologue. Shakespeare uses the term Jew, as in a Jewish person, derogatorily, negatively in this speech. Now, I'm going to point out that in the 15 and 1600s, that was fairly common, and that's one of the things that you sometimes will run into with shows that are from different time periods, is you'll run into things that are not acceptable by today's standards, but were perfectly fine. And it doesn't mean that it was ever right. It just means that that was what the time period believed. So I do just want to point that out, let you know that that is in there. Now, here's the deal. Looking at this monologue, it starts out with one thing and then very quickly segues into something completely different. He starts talking about his dog and that how his dog is completely... the dog doesn't have emotion and is not, doing what the dog needs to do in a moment of sadness. I mean, it's a dog, and that's where the comedy of this comes from. So some of the things we're looking at today is if I'm suddenly handed this and I don't know about it, first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to ask the director who's handing this to me if I can have a few minutes to look it over. Most, if not all, directors will say, sure, go ahead. And then I'll take that moment, very quickly scan it over. I'll take a look and I'll notice there's a lot of talk about weeping, there's a lot of talk about family. He talks about his shoes. So things we're going to look at is, what are we going to do? How are we going to move things? And in this case, he starts talking about using his shoes basically as puppets. So as an actor, one of my immediate thoughts is, oh, in the middle of this monologue, I can reach down, take off a shoe, and suddenly, boom, prop. And that's something for a director is really awesome to see because it shows that you have the ability to kind of think and move. Now, if the director doesn't give you any time to read it, then you just kind of have to very quickly, when you step back, take it in your hands, scan it as quickly as you can, see if you can find anything. Again, like we said very early on, those punctuations are very important. If you can't prepare it at all, if you don't get any time to prepare, then by all means, as you read it and as you perform it for that first time, look at the punctuation. Pause when you hit periods. Pause when you hit semicolons and colons. Take those breaths when you get those commas. If you hit that exclamation point, make sure that you end on that inflection going forward. Alright? So, if I have the time to prepare this, like I said, I saw the shoes, I saw the talk about the dog, I'm seeing a lot of images in a lot of places. So as an actor, what I'm going to do is, if I have the time to prepare this in an audition, I'm going to have a moment and say, okay, so so-and-so's over here, and so-and-so's over here, and so-and-so's over here, where it's like the dog, the mom, the dad, other people. And as long as I know who I'm supposed to be talking to and have an image in my mind of where these people are, that makes the monologue look stronger. Now, here's the thing, like I said, not read this play in near a decade. I've heard this monologue a couple of times over the years, but this is my first time performing it, ever. So I read it this morning, took a moment, kind of prepared a couple things. Watch how I move my eyes, watch how I use what I have to kind of enhance the monologue. Nay, 'twill be this hour ere I have done weeping. All the kind of the Launces have this very fault. I have received my proportion like the prodigious son and am going with Sir Proteus to the Imperial's court. I think Crab, my dog, be the sourest-natured dog that lives. My mother weeping, my father wailing, my sister crying, our maid howling, our cat wringing her hands, and all our house in a great perplexity. Yet did not this cruel-hearted cur shed one tear. He is a stone, a very pebble stone, and has no more pity in him than a dog. The Jew would have wept to see our parting. Why, my grandam, having no eyes, wept herself blind at my parting. Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my mother. Nay, that cannot be so. No, that... Yes, it is, so it is. It hath the worser soul. This shoe, with the hole in it, is my mother, and this my father. Vengeance on it. There 'tis, now, sit. This staff is my sister. Look you, she is as white as a lily and as small as a wand. This hat is Nan, our maid. I am the dog. No, the dog is himself, and I am the dog. Oh, the dog is me, and I am myself. So. Now I come to my father. Your blessing. Now should not the shrew speak a word for weeping. Now I should kiss my father. Now he weeps on. Now I come to my mother. Oh, that she could speak now like a woodwoman. Well, I kiss her. Why, there 'tis. Here's my mother's breath up and down. Now I come to the sister. Mark the moan she makes. Now the dog, all this while, sheds not a tear nor speaks a word. But see how I lay the dust with my tears. I hope that kind of helps. Again, looking at this monologue and looking at a piece that you have for audition if you've never seen it before, look for those kind of things. What can you do to make yourself stand out? How does that make it work? I'll be back again tomorrow with another monologue with the full literary and performance analysis. So, we'll catch you then. Bye.